Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emily Sophia, and I am going to be walking you guys through the Season 2 finale of Bates Motel. So strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. Brace yourself for the spoiler-gasmic fun that we are about to get into, because I will be bearing all in this review. So without further ado, let's do this thing. So I tell you, I was really tempted to watch the live show immediately after this episode to get more of my fill of Max and Vera and Freddie, because we're going to be missing them. But I am totally hitting the DVD Blu-ray box set when that thing drops. I will be there like midnight premiere status. I am so ready to have that in my hands, to just have the entirety of this series in my grasp. What a beautiful and fantastic and ghastly ride this season has been. Aside from, there's a couple of more transitional kinds of episodes in the mix, but the last 3 or 4 have just been consistent, like roundhouse kicks to the face. And that's what I love. That's the stuff that I am all about. And this show has delivered in enormous ways. I think that they chose the perfect note to end things on, with the revelation that it was not Norman. Oh, no, no, no. But rather Mother. Mother knows best. And she was, of course, his ticket to ride on into freedom. But, now we have pretty much the end game in motion. It's crazy to think about. I mean, I think that they could still get a few more good seasons out of this show. Personally, I kind of hope that they keep things shorter, like maybe kind of Breaking Bad length, because it sucks that we only had the 5 seasons of that show, but the quality and just the way that it was able to end was so fabulous, and I want that same thing for this show so freaking badly. But I just have to say, I think that this is one of the best series on television right now. And if you do not concur, then I don't know. You want to go? You want to bring it? I can make like Norman and taxidermize your face and send it to your family. They got really dark. Or I could just pull like a Norma Bates and like whack you with a purse or something. It's been too long since Norma pulled that kind of move on somebody. But anyways, we need to talk about the episode. I have to say that I watched this episode with my mother tonight, which was great because we had the Norma and Norman kissing scene. If I hadn't been watching the episode live, that would have required quite a few double takes. I'm talking quadruple to infinity, somewhere in between, because I could not fully process that this just, boom. I mean, we've been like bracing ourselves for it all this time. Earlier on in the episode, after Norma finally gets Norman back, and she has tucked him in bed, and she's gonna make him a pot roast, and she's going to heal the crap out of him, because that is what Norma Bates does. I have to say that in many ways, she would make a marvelous mother, but in others, I feel that she truly is the beginning of his downfall, and that is what makes this such a fascinating show, is that we're rooting for this completely and utterly toxic relationship that is at the same time so beautiful. Their passion for each other is pretty much matchless. But then the things that have been born in that passion, this mother side that Norman has adapted, the question is, where did that come from? And did that come from Norma's asphyxiating care and the way that she has brought him up to see the world? And then, of course, the violence that Norman was brought up in as well. Anyways, I'm going way into the bigger picture here, but I really can't help myself. Anyways, so when Norma is tucking him in and she's like hovering about ½ an inch away from his face, and she is insisting that he rest, he get better, they are going to be redeemed, and sunshine and frosty swirls, seriously. And then she leans in and is like, I'm gonna kiss you. right there. Ain't nothing weird about that. Ain't nothing weird about that. And then the little nose nuzzle. It just there's a lot of physicality in this episode going on. I mean, pretty much whenever it comes to Norman and Norma, there's gonna be that weird intimacy, and we got the. But just watching it with my mom was great, and I didn't know that she's been watching like this entire season behind my back. So tonight was just so fun. It's just a good family finale fiesta. That was what I got to have tonight. And I think that's something that we should all have. We should all have one serial killer show that we share with our parents, just so we can, like, you know, gauge one another's reactions, and especially when it comes to something like Bates Motel, where it's all about the parental-child relationships, and you're just like, that's not us, right? Gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay, but we had some fantastic character development. We also had some character destruction. I do hope and pray that Christine and George are out of the picture, because they belong in the trash, not the recycling. I don't want any piece of who they are brought back into the universe and repurposed. They need to be decimated. I am not a fan. That Christine thing, honestly, is really, really personal for me, because I, once upon a time, had a friend who thought that they were kind of doing this charitable thing by being my friend. And it's all about having this image, you know, you take someone in and you care for them, but it wasn't really mutual for Christine. It almost seemed like it was, but the fact that she made the whole situation about her, right friggin' there in the supermarket, I was like, oh, start throwing some eggs, you know, hit the dairy section, just get something nasty on her that she will not be able to wash out of her her fancy clothes. Just leave, cease, and desist. And then, of course, we also have the joint demise of the sibling duo of Zane and, was it Jody? She was not that memorable. As far as me trying to remember her name, it's not coming to me, so she wasn't in the picture that long. Really, all the drug war events of this season and all the destruction that we had in that plot line is all kind of priming Dylan to potentially be the new, I almost said meth. we're not going to Breaking Bad territory quite, but the new weed kingpin of White Pine Bay. And that's basically what Romero suggests in the arrangement that he and Dylan make in the free pass that he gives him, is the fact that Dylan, in Romero's eyes, has demonstrated his ability to understand the way that things should work in the way that the rules are in White Pine Bay. You know, you think about characters like Dexter Morgan, he's got the code. White Pine Bay's got the rules. Or shall we say Romero, who's kind of pretty much at the top of that hierarchy, really. Which I hope is going to bode well for Norma's continued involvement in the town, unless they make good on those 3 non-refundable tickets to Montreal, which I say, hey, just take a vacation or something. I don't know. I think they all deserve it at this point, but as a whole, I was kind of disappointed with Dylan's arc, because he was so estranged from his family, and even Max's acting, I think, apart from the scenes with Norman and Norma, kind of suffered, because he didn't really have characters to have this intense chemistry with. Like when it comes to Vera and Norma, when it comes to Freddie and Norman, they make this crazy trifecta wherein, I mean, he's kind of on the periphery, so it's hard to say that it's been that sort of triangle, but I think that we're kind of at that point now where he has been reintegrated into the family picture. And at the beginning, when Norman and Romero find Norman, and when they're all at the emergency room together, her and Norman and Dylan, and Norma's just, I love you, Dylan, I love you so much, and he's not ready to be a part of that yet, because he knows that deep down that's just Norma's knee-jerk reaction to, I got my favorite son back. And that's kind of the way that he feels about that situation. But then by the time that we get to close to the end, like in the last 20 minutes when they have that scene together, where Norma finally confides and finally takes down this facade of denying everything at every angle, and she admits to Dylan because he's the only person that she can trust in this regard besides Romero, and she knows where he stands and where he has to stand because, again, that's the way that the rules work for him. But she confesses to Dylan, finally, that Norman has these memories that he realized when he was in captivity, and that he has been slowly but surely coming to realize all along about the revelation of Miss Watson's death. And it's hard to say whether or not Norma actually believes deep down that he's done this. She doesn't really seem to care. And that's of course what puts us in a weird place morally, that Norma is so convinced that she is the only person and the only thing in this universe that can protect Norman, when in fact she is unwittingly conditioning him to be the murderer that he is going to be in by the time we get to Psycho, you know. So that's that part of the picture. But she tells Norman when she saves him from committing suicide that we are the same person, that if you die, better make room in the grave, buddy, because I'm coming right in after ya. And I do believe that's true. I believe that, I mean, obviously Norman is going to outlast Norma, but it could never be the other way around because of everything that Norma has endured and how much she has invested in Norman. Really, Norman is this one mainstay for Norma, and he is what tells Norma that she is a good person. That he is that only figure for her, because everyone else has spurned or manipulated her in some way or another. And that's not to say that Norman hasn't done that, but there's this certain reciprocity between them that when that is in action, they are fused. It is such a mind meld that Norman has cloned this idyllic image of his mother, and that has been inserted into his psyche and is telling him to kill people. So, good stuff. Just, oh, that's true love, right? That must be. Apparently I haven't figured that part of my life out yet, because I haven't found somebody who makes me want to kill everyone yet. Oh gosh, my brain is going all over the place, so I would love for you guys to fill in any gaps, anything that I happen to miss. I'm just ricocheting whatever is of emotional priority. It's gonna come out, and if I miss something, it's probably because my camera battery dies before I can even get it out there. But we have, and this episode was really torturous for a while. I think it ended on an incredibly satisfactory note. We get this guise of a happily ever after when we know that this is just the beginning. But that's what's exciting, and that's what gives us momentum, is that we see that Mother is fully integrated. She is in the picture. She ain't going nowhere. And then the rest of the episode preceding, there's this false sense of peace as Norman is recovering, but ultimately what he is recovering into is into the perfect circumstances in which he can end his life. Just as Norma wishes to have control over every piece of her universe, Norman wants to have control over this uncontrollable being that he is becoming. He can feel himself spiraling out of control. He can feel the truth, and he's internalized it, and he knows what happened to be true. I don't think that there's any disputing at this point whether or not he actually killed her. It was Mother in him. You know, that kind of vicarious murder. But at any rate, so we see him, and he makes this list. He essentially makes his bucket list that he is going to fulfill in the next couple days before he ends things the way that he wants to end them. And it's incredibly tragic because we as the audience are operating from a perspective where we know exactly where everything is going to go. And so part of you is like, you know, it's this really beautiful and macabre but poetic thing that he's doing, considering that if he stays alive in the circumstances that he's going to stay alive in, by his dear mommy's side, ultimately he is only going to become that killing, well, not a killing machine, because it's not this perfect balance between him and Mother where it's just click click. He's kind of at war with himself, but at any rate, we know where things are going to go if he stays alive. But we don't want him to end it this way, especially because we know that the impact that's going to have on Norma. And it's just this horrible, awful, tragic thing where it's like, okay, everyone's gonna die at some point. What's that quote from Game of Thrones? For those of you who watch, you know, all men must die. And this, basically the Westeros version of, Westeros and Beyond version of Memento Mori. But, this is the question of how should they die? What's the best way? But even though we know that something's gotta give, we want to waylay all of this. We don't want any of it right now, so whatever it takes, we're going to be screaming against this because we love the show, and if one of the two main players goes down, what do we have? We are at a loss. So he tells Emma the truth. This truth that she has been barred off from. And you know, a lot of people have been expressing irritation with Emma's character. I personally disagree with, well, I guess I disagree with the people who are against her. I think it's understandable, sure, that maybe she's trying to cross some boundaries in her insistence that she be a part of this family, but she doesn't really have much of a relationship with her own family. And the Bates have really become that family structure for her. And so, I mean, it's almost as if she's begging to be truly adopted by them, which is a really tragic thing, because it's just like, Emma, sweetie, do you want to know, is this, like, welcome to the grand illusion. You don't know exactly what's cooking, but if that's what you think you want, great. Sign right up. So he gives Emma, and of course what he thinks are his last moments of life, he gives her this opportunity to feel that she is connected. And he wants to, I think that Norman wants to ensure that Emma could take care of his mother, and everything that he does for Norma in this episode preceding his suicide attempt is all geared at putting her in this place of absolute unending happiness. Of course, I don't know, I love all the shots of the taxidermy that we had in this episode too, like when the camera zooms out from Norman and Norma dancing and we have like the owls just like, what up? And so I'm like crying and I'm laughing and it's, you know, that's how I know a show is good. When it's got me pretty much on every part of the emotional spectrum simultaneously and it's just boundaries of life are shattered. Oh, it's good. It's real good. At any rate, the dance. Whoo man, just that was such a powerful moment. The Norman's continued emphatic declarations of love for her and that she is the best mother. And Norma they cling to each other so tightly because it's almost as if they feel that they are slipping away from one another. And then the final gift that Norma finds in her room, the little bouquet with a taxidermized bird, and then the letter, you know, here's this bird and this'll, you can remember me by this. And that's when Norma knows, and that is when she takes off. And that, oh my gosh, that whole scene, I was pretty much in shambles. I was ready, you know, it's like as Norma's telling Norman that she's gonna go in the grave with him, I was like, me too, take me. I can't do this anymore. You guys need to cut this out because I am having too hard of a time trying to live my own Bates Motel universe existence and then taking on the rest of this emotional crisis. I'm like Emma, you know, I'm just like, I want to be part of your family. But I also know that it's a terrible idea, and you know, Emma and Emily, we are one in the same. But that kiss though, you know, you think about like Princess Bride, that part at the end where they're like the top kisses of all time. You might want to put that one on there just for the sheer shock factor, because like I said, I could not process what I was seeing. I was like, wait, it's not here. It's not here, it's not here, it's not, you know, it's like Bullseye was like the one time that I was not prepared for it, but at the same time, once she grabs that gun and she just locks their heads together and she's like, you saved me, you protected me, this is what happened with your father, so he gets this truth. And then I think that moment for her was this revelation of, wow, I see even more so just how much you mean to me, Norman. I think that was what that moment was for her. It wasn't her trying to say like, hey, if you stay alive, we can take it to the next level. Although I don't really, just opening new doorways, new gateways, new dimensions. But I think that was for her, this moment of, you are the one person that I have. And in just knowing that she had him back. And it all just erupted into that dynamite moment, which, yes, I did get to watch alongside my mother. And we both had pretty much the same reaction. And then in my brain, I'm just like, yes. Like just this slight, tiny little like, but you don't. I blame it on Freddie and Vera. They make you want things that you should not want and that you would not want anywhere else. That's what I keep saying. But I'm sorry. I am on drugs. I'm fairly certain of it. Okay, bringing myself back down, bringing it down. What else? So of course we have the polygraph test, and ultimately what gets Norman through that is the revelation in his mind that it was not he who committed the deed, but Mother. And that was a fantastic moment, and I wonder if we are going to ever get to revisit that scene, or I guess, shall we say, any predictions as to who's gonna be next to get the knife, because I feel like with the way things are going, we can expect a major character death this next season. As far as where Dylan is going to fit in the picture, I think that he's gonna have to choose how close he wants to be with Norma. They have this beautiful redemptive moment in which Dylan hugs her first after pushing and pushing and pushing away. He finally realizes, and that of course is in that moment where Norma affirms him as a beautiful miracle in the midst of these absolutely tragic circumstances. And he gets to have that moment of complete and utter validation and finally feel that love that to him has simply felt like, oh, thank you for doing something for Norman, my beloved child, God bless you. Finally, he gets this direct line of affection, a chord between his and Norma's hearts. So that was really beautiful, and just that last scene was stunning in the slow motion and just the very focused camera angling, the mise-en-scène that we got, you know, with just how everything was structured. Norma on one end of the table kind of sipping her tea with that look of, you know what you have to do. And then Norman all prepared, having come down from nearly committing suicide to preparing for whatever this new phase of life is going to be. And then the three of them in the car together going to Norman's test. It's really freaking powerful stuff. Again, I think that it was a great kind of cliffhanger to end things on, because it's just so subtle. For every other character, this is great, fantastic, let's go to Disney World. You know, I feel like we're going to pick it up sort of like what happened at the beginning of season 2. We had this really kind of perky beginning. Norma and Norman successfully brought Bates Motel to the forefront. They weren't dealing with the bypass yet, and so it was this really happy start. So I think that we might get something like that again. And that seems to be kind of the nature of the show so far, but I really do wonder just how much further they're going to go and what other twists we're going to have. Is the rest of the show going to be focused in White Pine Bay? What other kinds of new characters are we going to get? You know, I'm relieved that the whole drug war thing is, if that plotline is coming back into the picture, it's going to get a serious facelift. We're going to have a lot of new characters in that regard, and whether or not Dylan's going to go to the forefront of the pot business, I think will have pretty significant impacts for the Bates family. It's gonna have to. They can't keep severing Dylan away from the core power unit of himself and the Bates. Like, it doesn't really work. It throws off the chemistry of the show. So ideally, whatever's going to happen in that regard is something that is going to implicate everyone else. And that's what the season ultimately successfully did, is it brought everything back together. So, and then what's going to happen with Romero as well. He's emerged as a really fantastic character. I'm just really happy with the way that things ended. I'm really happy. I'm really wigging out. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm ready for the trailer for season 3. Let's hit it. I want that. I want that stuff. So thank you guys for such an amazing, amazing season. It has been a pleasure to review an entire season of Bates Motel for the first time. I also have reviews of the second half of the first season, and then all of this season 2. So I've got a playlist. You can feel free to watch that to your heart's content until we get the Blu-ray DVD set. For season 2, whenever that drops. You guys are great. Remember, I'm still reviewing another serial killer show, NBC's Hannibal. Fingers crossed for getting a renewal in that department. Also Game of Thrones. I'm about to graduate soon, so that's gonna mean a lot more shows and some music as well. So stick around, ladies and gents. It's gonna be a blast. Fill in the blanks. Let's have some emotional, digital conversations in the YouTube universe. It's my favorite thing to do. So, you guys, take care, hold tight, and I'll be back before you know it.